I would like to speak just a few minutes briefly and share some of my personal thoughts I have gleaned concerning the Aleph Tav over the years. Let's consider this a form of amplification as I expound a little. When you see the Aleph Tav in a verse, it actually has several profound meanings that should come to mind, and all of them can be and should be applied. First and foremost, the first mindset you would want to apply is covenant, as in regard to the strength of the covenant, because this is actually what the two letters mean in Hebrew when joined together. The Hebrew letter Aleph is the symbol of the ox head in Paleo-Hebrew, and it has several meanings, but its predominant meaning is strength. The Tav is two sticks crossed together in equal measurements, and the Tav also has several meanings, but its predominant meaning is the covenant in regard to equality of measurements of two or more in agreement. So in looking at Genesis 1:1, it can actually be understood to say that in the beginning created Elohim by strength and covenant the heavens, and by strength and covenant the earth. To understand the significance of what I just said, we have to understand that everything that Elohim speaks into creation is created in a very real sense by covenant agreement, because it is created under the laws that govern his universe, and basically a vow is made with everything he creates that he will honor his creation through his word. That is the essence of a covenant, because a covenant is an agreement. When you think about it, the entire law is based on covenant. Father's laws are covenant laws. They do not ever change. Creation can never escape from being under his covenant laws. It is just a fact. In a sense, it's like being born in America. Everyone born in America comes under the laws that govern the land of America from birth, and you are automatically a citizen and expected to obey the laws. Father has a covenant with everything he creates, whereby his creation is created with certain rights and obligations. Father is not above his law, and all creation is expected to honor his law, just as Father honors his law and watches over it to perform it. When the heavens and the earth were created, they were created with the same rights and responsibilities through Father's law that governs all creation. This is covenant, and this is the first meaning that comes into play when you see the Aleph Tav in a verse. It is the symbol of the strength of the covenant. Now let's look at some examples so this can begin to bring even further understanding. Psalms 130, verse 8. The true meaning can be amplified as, and he will redeem by covenant, or by strength of covenant, Israel from all their iniquities. David is proclaiming that Father will redeem covenant Israel. And that is exactly what Yeshua said in Exodus 2, verse 24. And heard Elohim, Aleph Tav, their groanings, and remembered Elohim, Aleph Tav, his covenant, with Aleph Tav Abram, Aleph Tav Isaac, and Aleph Tav Jacob. And seeing Elohim, Aleph Tav children of Israel, Elohim took notice of them. What this is actually saying is that Elohim, being in covenant with the children of Israel, heard their groanings. And verse 25, and seeing Elohim, the covenant children of Israel. Now we know this holds true because it was the mark of the covenant promise of the Lamb's Aleph Tav blood that was placed over the doorpost, which Father acted upon and redeemed the Israelites from slavery. In Exodus 12:13, and when I see the covenant blood, I will pass over you. That is amazing. Psalms 119, verse 135. Teach me your covenant statutes. Why? Because David was an Aleph Tav, David, and a covenant man. The Aleph Tav appears before his name no less than 25 times. How about Psalms 34, verse 1? I will bless Aleph Tav Yahuwah at all times. The Aleph Tav appears before Father's memorial name hundreds of times throughout the Tanakh. And what it means, firstly, is that Yahuwah is the covenant maker, or the Elohim of the covenants. We could further expound on this verse and say David could also be implying that he will bless Yahuwah through the keeping of the covenant he has with Yahuwah at all times, by the keeping of the commandments. Do you see how important this two-letter Hebrew word can become? In Habakkuk 2:14, for the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the covenant glory of Yahuwah, as the waters cover the sea. We have such a limited understanding of covenant and what covenant truly is, and how Father makes covenant. Actually, it can be said that every time Elohim speaks, he is speaking covenant promises, or covenant blessings, or covenant judgments, because all his ways are judgments. Just and right is he. In other words, Father watches over his covenant word to perform it. Psalms 102, verse 15. So shall fear the nations the covenant name, or the strength of the covenant name of Yahuwah, and all the kings of the earth the covenant of your glory. 1 Kings 8:16. I brought forth by covenant my people, covenant Israel, out of Egypt. Do you see how easy this is? It really helps expound the meaning of what the authors were trying to convey by placing the covenant symbols of the Aleph Tav in a verse, and what their understanding was of the symbol during their time. I think it is incredibly amazing to see this, but let's take this to the next level. How does this become a mark for Yeshua, as John proclaimed 4 times in the book of Revelation? The key to understanding this is the revelation, which John proclaims in his gospel. John 1:3. All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. We further understand through Paul in 1 Timothy 2:5. Yeshua is the only mediator between man and Elohim. So consequently, if Yeshua is divine, and I believe he is, and everything was created through Yeshua, as John proclaims, and if he is mediator of all things, as Paul announces, then everything from blessings to judgments, covenants, atonement, this is how the Aleph Tav incorporates Yeshua and becomes his mark. For Yeshua himself said that no man comes before the Father but by him. Of course, now, when we see the Aleph Tav before Father's memorial name, we realize this further reveals the two symbols of the Yahweh working together as one through covenant with man, through the mediator of the covenant with man, working the will of Father with man. Last, but certainly not least, the Aleph Tav becomes our mark also, because man was created through the covenant, by the covenant, with certain covenant promises and obligations. And this is why pronouns are written using the Aleph Tav. Understanding the amplification of the Aleph Tav in the Scriptures truly enhances our ability to realize just how significant the Aleph Tav was to Moses and the prophets, and also down through history, Jewish rabbis, as well as the apostles and the early believers. When you see the Aleph Tav, all these meanings come into play. This was a living and sacred language they used to speak blessings and praises. And when written by Moses, the placement of the Aleph Tav created emphasis in regard to the tie that binds man with Elohim. That is, by covenant, or by the strength of covenant. The Aleph Tav was the strongest expression for spirituality that could be expressed in writing. It was, and is today, both a sacred and blessed mark. I'm Bill Sanford, trying to put the Aleph Tav in proper perspective in our day. Shalom.